Hello everyone, this is HuskyStarcraft here, and I'm on a little bit of a HuK casting spree. It seems as if Nexlife is attempting to talk to HuK here in Korean, and I don't know exactly what Sugo means, but I'm guessing it says, I'm white, and I have no idea what you're saying, so that's going to be my guess anyways. If you guys can let me know what they were saying there, that would be fun. It was probably just a GG, have fun, all of that. So spawning in the top right side is going to be Nexlife, and I do have his stats up here. He is currently ranked 159 on the Korean server. Not bad at all. That is in Grandmasters League with 1,330 losses, 1,113 wins. That is, apparently they had a cannon rush going on in a previous game. But, yeah, he has played several thousand games, keeping in mind that that is just in this season alone. Does not include all other seasons, which right now is just only one season. But regardless, thousands of games under his belt, ranked 159 in Grandmaster, and being a total baller. And we already talked about HuK a little bit earlier. Again, I'm curious as to what they're saying. I honestly have no idea. And yeah, HuK, I talked about it before, 185th, but has been doing really good in tournaments lately, including DreamHack, and he's playing in the Home Story Cup, definitely making a name for himself in that regard. Look at him just owning this mineral patch, preventing anything from mining from it, and that is the HuK probe for you. Literally nothing is mining from this patch right now. The Zerg player is going to say, no, photon cannons. I do not want any photon cannons here. Stop it. And HuK is going to block the hatchery too. Oh man, this Korean player probably not too pleased so far. Oh, tries to get it right there. Not able to get that down either, and he's sitting on 400 minerals now, so he's going to have to do something here. Decides to put the spawning pool in the main base. HuK notices that this probe has oh, he just made a heart right there. I don't know if he meant to, but he definitely made a heart there with that movement pattern. And HuK going to be blocking that off for just a little bit. And you can see here, he's like, well, that allows me to throw down a Nexus. I was able to block that off long enough. I can go ahead and get my Nexus safely as the spawning pool was delayed. Hatchery just now going down. And I love how HuK went back up there right when the second drone got brought down. So now Nexlife decides to put it on the ramp here. All that talk of photon cannon rushing has him scared, so he wants to make sure he doesn't get walled in there. Got to be having that drone patrolling back and forth. So unfortunately for Nexlife, this game not going the build order he was hoping for, but that is completely standard for Zerg. If you want to be a top tier Zerg player, you basically have to get used to Protoss blocking off your expansion with their probe. It's going to happen nearly every single game. Unfortunately for HuK, his probe did get a mouthful of minerals, so he can no longer block off these mineral patches and is trying to kill that drone. Don't know if he's going to get it. Doesn't look like it. Only 13 HP remains on that drone, but you got to remember he'll slowly be regaining that health, so I don't know if HuK will be able to destroy that drone or not. He does have his probe going to be heading on back home, it looks like, and HuK now does have one photon cannon on the way. He's been able to get pretty good scouting and also ran his probe away and is running it towards the bottom right side, hoping that maybe the Zerg player thinks he's down there, but just kidding, because there's an Overlord right here. He's just trying to keep the probe alive, and it is going to get taken out. He may have tried to hide it down there and maybe try and set up a proxy pylon for a little bit later in the mid or late game, which can be handy, especially since really no probe is going to get back in here. I believe this is walled in tight. No units can run past that. There is one cannon completed. Now, the good thing about what HuK did is, since I believe he was scouting this after the hatchery was finished, oh, he's saying toss map. Smack talking the Protoss already, and so HuK does know about this hatchery. He knows that it was not canceled, so he's not getting a second cannon. If you're wondering why he's not doing that, really the only reason to get a second cannon is the fact of the matter is that early roaches can end up killing you. And what are they talking about? Steps of War equals toss map. Okay, so HuK could just be trolling in typical HuK fashion. Delta Quadrant equals toss map, and he is just goofing around. I love HuK. He is so funny. I totally get his style of humor. And now he's saying Terran maps. This is a pretty heated discussion back and forth. But, yeah, regardless, we do have the lair tech on the way now off of 2 base. Could potentially see Mutalisks unless we see a 3rd base go down for Nex in the next couple of minutes. I'm curious to see what he follows this up with. It most likely will be a Spire and all map, Terran map, and Zerg map. Oh, HuK, I love you. You are the best. You are the best around. No one's ever gonna keep you down. And here we go. Here comes the Tickle Monster. We'll see if he's gonna be able to take it down. Trying to micro it as best as possible. Think that Overlord will escape. Is he going to, though? And oh, he's gonna barely get away. Not enough range on that sentry to kill off the Overlord. So unfortunately, that Overlord will most likely be used for scouting if the game continues long enough for him to start healing up. Our Zerg player right now has not scouted that much, I believe. which between the 6 to 8 minute mark is where you're going to want to go ahead and start scouting. And Nexlife says bye-bye. He is very sad about something. And their APM must be much lower just because from all this typing, they're not able to APM spam like crazy. We have an infestation pit from Nexlife rather than Mutalisk, so we'll see if he's just going to be going for the infestors with that fungal growth or anything like that. And HuK, he is still working on warp gate technology here. You can see he's just individually getting out sentries. These are just going to be to block off the ramp should an early rush commence. And this is a very tense moment as a Protoss. You don't know exactly what's on your way or what's on the way to go ahead and kill you. Although it does look like HuK has thrown down 1,000,000 warp gates. And literally, this is 1,000,000, guys. Don't let any math teacher tell you differently. And I don't see a robotics anywhere, so HuK is going to rely on lots and lots of units with little to no tech to back them up. Uh-oh, he says 6 gates, and that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 gates. He says he didn't count, so it's actually an 8 gate rather than a 6 gate. HuK joking around that he doesn't even know how many gateways he has, which is just epic lulz to me. And I don't think our Protoss has been really scouted at all. This is normally where an Overseer would come in and start taking it out. So it looks like HuK getting quite a few sentries. This is way more sentries than normal, and HuK is hoping to use this to be able to defend for quite a while. And he's going to try and put on some pressure here with just sentries, which I don't think this is going to do that much damage, especially if he runs into Roaches or Hydras, which currently he will run into neither. He will be running into early infestors, though. Let's take a look at the units tab here. 53 Zerglings, or 53 drones into 14 Zerglings directly into infestors. So this is about as fast as you can get infestors, folks, while still having standard expansion timings. Look at this. This is a fairly early expansion, getting that before the 10-minute mark, which a lot of Zerg players will do, but usually it's not followed by this quick of infestors. And there we go, guys. Surround the probes, take that out. Here come the infestors. They do have enough for that fungal growth and 92 energy already on these infestors. I don't know if HuK has anything to deal with these infestors right now. This is a fairly scary timing window that this Zerg player has found. And here it comes right now. Force Field's going to block off those infestors. He needs to keep, or HuK that is, needs to keep his units far enough away so this doesn't happen. If he gets one more fungal growth, it's going to kill all the sentries. Does get a lot of them on there. Every sentry goes down. That was grabbed by that. And that's going to really suck for HuK. That is what I'm talking about, is sentries versus infestors. Infestors just need to use 2 of those fungal growths. We'll take that out. And that was a lot of gas that just evaporated there, really, for lack of better words. Look at this, 1,400 resources lost. The majority of that's going to be the gas that HuK spent on those sentries, continuing to get out a surprising amount of sentries. And HuK now working on the armor upgrade. Here comes the attack from Nexlife. He does have +1 attack on these Zerglings, but nice force field. They're going to trap all those Zerglings. Probes over here trying to find a way to mine as they're just kind of going around an odd pattern there. And this is a fairly interesting game already. I've never seen a game quite like this, where it's just mass infestors with infested Terrans and some Zerglings mixed in. There is going to be a Spire on the way. HuK Zealots do get surrounded, but they do have the 1 attack upgrade, just making killing Zerglings that much easier. Especially since those Zerglings do not have the armor upgrade, it does make it a lot easier there for those Zealots to kill it off. That Spire now on the way. And I think we're going to catch a little bit of a breather here as Nexlife taking the bottom right side expansion, doing pretty darn good. Not able, however, to kill this expansion. Yes, he killed off the sentries, but HuK now has this expansion. You know what? HuK is so happy he can just leave 4 probes sitting around not doing anything. So hopefully for his sake, those do go ahead and get back to work. Are they back to work? There we go. Now they're working. If you are in the probe army, man, you really got to get back to work. So Nexlife at 105 supply going up against 100, which is pretty darn awesome. Oh, I want to mention really quick, in the center of this map, or during this game, in the center of this game rather, a lot of people are wondering, Husky, why haven't you been uploading that much? Well, I wanted to let you know that I have been extremely busy in real life stuff, and on top of that, I've been working on my 500,000 subscriber video. So the closer I get to 500,000 subs, the sooner that video is hopefully going to come out. I've been working out like crazy. It may come out a little after 500,000, but just know I have a 500,000 subscriber video for sure this time. It has been filmed, so hopefully I get 500,000 subs soon, and hopefully the video comes out ahead of schedule. We'll see. But I just want everyone to know that while I may have missed the 400,000 subscriber video, I am not going to miss the 500,000, because that is awesome. 500,000 StarCraft fans watching StarCraft every day. That is the way to go. People always ask, Husky, do you think StarCraft is going to go mainstream? I say StarCraft is already mainstream with the millions of fans that it has. I wonder if more people watch StarCraft than play it. I think that that's becoming the case, which is extremely exciting, because in order for StarCraft to be a mainstream sport, people have to watch it, and a lot of people need to play it as well, of course. So regardless, it does look like Nexlife does have a lot of Mutalisks now, and an interesting transition considering he had so much success with everything else. Looks like he's going to try and break this location. It may be better for him to do something else like a Nidus Worm, just because HuK is locked in tight right here. Like, if Protoss had a planetary fortress, this is what it would look like. He is just walled in so tight here. But, I mean, if you think of a Nidus Worm, boom, units right here. And HuK has to run all the way around, down here, over there. It takes forever. But for now, HuK just going to be defending. The Zerg player at 184 supply. Does have +1 attack for his air weapons. And he does have, I believe, an armor upgrade just now finishing. So he has 2 attack on the ground, 1 for the armor. HuK sitting at 1-1 himself. Does have a shield upgrade nearly completed, though, something that that Protoss players tend not to get. Zerg players tend not to get the shield upgrade very often either. We do have Colossus now. There is a double robo all the way across the sky. 2 cannons down here as well, going to protecting that mineral line, and he has 2 right here. So he is really worried about those Nidus Worms, it seems, which we have not seen at all, so really no major threat there. Mostly because it has to do with these Mutalisks, I believe. HuK is hoping that the Zerg player keeps the Mutalisks in his main army, rather than killing off all of his probes. That's why he had to throw down those cannons. Here comes the attack right now, and again, the Honey Badger Zealot there just standing strong, not going to be destroyed. It does look, though, like Zerg player wants to get in here, throwing a lot of Infested Terrans. They're really dumping all the energy of the Infestors on this army. Is it going to be enough to bust through, though, as there is several Colossus here, which will happily eat these up? I mean, it's still free damage from the Infested Terrans, only able to kill a cannon, though. This is a lot of Mutalisks, showing you that, hey, Corruptors, overrated. I'm just going to use Mutalisks to kill this off. And now HuK in a peculiar position as these Mutalisks are kind of going unchecked in his main base, killing off the Colossus. All that remains is those dangling daddy long legs, spider legs, as they fall to the ground, and the Mutalisks safely escape. Not a whole lot of harassment he can do here unless he flies the Mutalisks up and around the corner. HuK saying, okay, well, it's time for me to go ahead and counterattack here. Is able to kill some of these Infestors. 3 Infestors. 4. Nope, not 4. Just 3. Going to be able to fungal growth these Stalkers completely, trapping them in that Zergling death attack. Although HuK does have Blink now, so he blinks in there to save some of them. And now the Zerg is on the retreat. He does have some Corruptors, though. The positioning of the Corruptors not going to be the best. He's continuing to stick with these Infested Terrans. Seems to be his spell of choice for these Infestors before they get roasted away. That actually looks surprisingly delicious, as nothing like a good old burnt Infestor for dinner. But right now, it looks like HuK is going to start relying on his Blink Stalker Micro. And that is 1-1-1 attack upgrades all across the board with the armor and shields as well. Our Zerg player is losing a lot of Overlords. He is massively supply blocked. You can see he's continuing to have to make more Overlords. 5 Overlords on the way. Yikes. Did I just say yikes? I meant to say yikes. But apparently yikes is the word that came out there. And he does have the crackling speed upgrade, which is something you don't see very often. And the Mutalisks are going up here. I mean, they're just been chilling up here, which they could easily maybe harass down here and find a sweet spot right there. Unfortunately, he doesn't know about that. So easy for us to say that in our observing booths. Probably one of the shortest blinks I've ever seen, as he leaves one poor little Stalker up on the high ground, and will probably most likely blink him down to, or just leave him up there for now. There we go. Blinks up here. Although thankfully for him, no Zerg surround was in order, or was prepared there, simply because his blink would be off cooldown. Even blinks away from the Broodlings there. HuK's blink micro is insane, and a lot of mutas. Zerglings mixed in. The crackling speed upgrade nearly complete. The Zerg player really needs to hang on here. Now you gotta remember, the Zerg player has been on 4 base this whole time, has not really lost a base, except for this 5th base up here. Wasn't that big of a deal, considering that he hasn't lost that many workers so far. If we look at the workers killed, HuK has killed 0. The Zerg player only having killed 3. So if the Zerg player Nexlife can, you know, keep his drones alive, then he's not in that bad a shape. As long as he continues using his money, continues getting the right unit composition, he should be okay. Trying to run some Zerglings in here. Looks like it will be a success. Going to surround that cannon, then decides to run on by. And I guess he's going to go for these pylons. Really, there's not a whole lot for him to do here, just simply because there is so many cannons in the mineral line. Although it does look like HuK's finishing +2 attack with +3 on the way. These Zerglings will prove to be a nuisance. At the same time, though, HuK says, okay, you killed some pylons. I killed an expansion. That laser looked a little goofy there, trying to kill those off. But the Zerglings are proving to be pests, and we're going to have to get roach control in here fairly quickly. I guess technically not roaches. I was thinking of like cockroaches. But yeah, those Zerglings trying to do a counterattack, that was not going to be effective. And HuK still has Zerglings strewn about his base. Not too excited about that one. Will he get this last warp gate? One Zergling hacking away, trying to finish it off. It will not go down. And HuK has held 194 supply for the Zerg, 181 for HuK, but we do have Broodlords on the way, which can be extremely effective or extremely ineffective, depending on if he can get the Fungal Growths on those blinks, preventing the Stalkers from running in there and killing off the Brood Lords. So HuK continuing to stick with Stalker harassment, but you got to remember, this is not just a Stalker army. It's also Colossus for backup, as well as some Zealots mixed in there. And I see a Sentry or two for that Guardian Shield / Force Field. Here comes the Broodlords right now. Now they're going to have to find a good spot to defend themselves, which is trying to hide around the high ground as much as possible. Both players are now maxed out. A lot of this will come down to how many resources can the Zerg player stockpile before he potentially loses his army. Here comes the attack right now. A couple Zealots up here, eating up a lot of the Broodlings. That's actually a huge deal because the Broodlords need to be attacking down here with the Broodlings. Fungal Growth on the Colossus is going to be trapping them there, and it looks like the Zerg player not able to win that battle. Blinking over here. This is what I'm talking about. The Fungal Growth is going to be a little bit too late. This is a lot of mutas able to take on those Stalkers, even though they have that +3 attack. And the Colossus really spending most of their time killing Broodlings. Not the best situation to be in. Unfortunately, these Mutalisks only have that +1 attack and will eventually be whittled down for that reason. 3 attack on those Stalkers is difficult for Mutalisks to kind of power through. Well, they only have the 1 attack, 0 armor on that. More Zerglings over here trying to get us around. Colossus, though, ready to eat those up. And unfortunately, our Zerg player is forced to get out a lot of Corruptors. And considering he really hasn't been able to deal with these Blink Stalkers, that's going to prove to be very difficult to deal with. He does have a lot of Zerglings. Got to try and run around here. No force fields able to prevent this from happening. But the Zerg player decides to turn around. Is going to get surrounded on these Sentries. Sentries, though, got a force field and save themselves while these Zerglings just get bunched up. And now the Zerg player scrambling around trying to be cost effective. But look at this. HuK has so many cannons up here. He is playing so gosh darn well in this game that he's really given a Zerg a beating. Almost illegal. This is like domestic abuse if they were to be married, but it does look like the amount of units HuK has right now has quickly gotten out of control, and really HuK has never lost all of his Colossus, never lost all of his Stalkers, and Nexlife, you could tell in the early stages of the game, did not like this map, did not like playing on this map versus a Protoss, and HuK kind of kept him distracted with a little chitty chat there. So HuK able to win that game very convincingly against a top tier Korean player. And HuK, I gotta hand it to him. He is playing very well recently. You guys definitely got to look out for him. Keep following him on a lot of the tournaments and see how he does. He's done good in MLGs in the past. He's done good at DreamHack. He's doing good in the Home Story Cup. He is just all around doing good. So anyways, hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time.